good afternoon or good evening depending on the time and the country where you are watching this video. Welcome to a new video. Today we are here on the city streets in the downtown area in the city center. We have come to fulfill our promise to finish our interview series focused on the major religions of this world. Today we are going to be talking about, we are going to address the topic of Buddhism, the religion that follows the name and message of Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha. As a result of his death, this great religion emerged. So we are going to be asking people we approach to see what their view is on this matter. Let's see what they know about the values promoted by this religion. Let's see, what do they know about the ideal? Let's see what they know about the Buddha's message. So that's it, guys. That's all for now. Welcome to a new video, and let's roll the video. Well, guys, I just wanted to tell you, we've come here to a beautiful park to talk up close about the topic we're going to be discussing today, the first part of Siddhartha Gautama interviews. But since it's the holiday season and these are very special dates, there were a lot of people, a massive crowd. So we weren't able to fully focus on the interviews. People were walking in front of the camera and it was all very, very difficult, almost impossible. So guys, we've decided, since we have a little bit of daylight left, about 2 hours, we've decided to record our own videos, to make an informational video about the topic we were discussing today. So now we're going to tell you a bit more about the recent history. About Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha, and the religion that was created around his legacy and his name, Buddhism. So let's get into the video. So we're going to take a closer look at the basic concepts, the fundamentals, and other things related to the Buddhist religion. The first thing I have to tell you guys is that the Buddhist religion is a non-theistic religion. What does that mean? It's a religion that doesn't worship a divine Buddhist figure, an image, or a god. They don't worship a specific god. Their leader, their founder, is Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha. And as I told you guys, they don't worship any particular deity. Their leader is simply Siddhartha Gautama. He is a guide, a teacher who leads all beings to the liberation from suffering and to nirvana, to spiritual enlightenment. That is the goal of this Buddhist religion, which is why there are many monks and many people who follow this type of religion. And that is the main goal of this religion, guys. Let's continue with our video. Another of the foundations of this great religion, which is one of the largest in the world, along with Catholicism, Hinduism, and Islam, is detachment from material things and love for all beings and all things. Love is the key element in this religion, just as it is in all religions. And feel love for animals, things, etc. It is a religion that teaches love and believes in reincarnation. That's where respect for all animals and living beings comes from. That's another foundation of this great religion. As I said before, they don't worship any deity. Simply, the Buddha is the guide, mentor, and teacher. And they have love for all things and all beings. So, let's continue with the next foundation. We continue with the foundations of this great religion. What I wanted to tell you was a little story. Once I was watching a movie about Buddhism and Tibetan religion in which they were building the Dalai Lama. He ordered the construction of a movie theater for the whole town so that everyone could go to the movies to watch films, movies, and so on. So they were here, they were digging to build the blocks. And when they were digging, worms came out of the ground, as is normal. So they had to stop the construction because, as I mentioned before, it's a religion that believes in reincarnation. And they respect all beings and all animals in general. So according to the story, they stopped the work, and as they were digging, new worms kept coming out. So they put them in little boxes and left them in another part of the ground where digging wouldn't harm them. That's so you can see, guys, the love they feel for everything else and the great compassion. Above all, it's about compassion for all beings and all things. So another foundation of this Buddhist religion is that it's another tool that this Buddhist religion uses for unification with the divine and for liberation from suffering and bondage. It's meditation. It's the most powerful tool, as we believe. And they use many meditation techniques, mantras, and so on to align themselves with life and, as I mentioned before, to free themselves from suffering and reach nirvana, the state of spiritual enlightenment, which is what we are all destined for at some stage of our existence across our different reincarnations until that stage comes, the stage of spiritual enlightenment. So let's continue with more fundamentals of this Buddhist religion. Another one of the fundamentals of this Buddhist religion, another factor to keep in mind, is a tree under which Siddhartha Gautama sat for many days. And it is where he entered a state of absolute meditation, absolute peace, and freed himself from suffering and reached nirvana. It is the tree under which Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, was sheltered, sitting in the lotus position in the meditation posture, and I'll attach an image so you can see how to do this posture. While sitting under the great tree, which has a sacred name, that tree which people now pay tribute to, a great storm came and a large serpent or a great anaconda protected Siddhartha Gautama from the storm and simply shielded him. And it's a historical event and quite a beautiful one, honestly. Another story and event that happened in its founder's journey, Siddhartha Gautama, was that he was tempted by Shiva. He was tempted by Shiva and by a legion of demons who offered him women, various things, and so on. Ultimately, just like the temptations that Jesus of Nazareth had in the desert, there's a parallel there with Siddhartha Gautama. And that's another story, guys, that I wanted to tell you, which I have learned throughout my spiritual evolution and my development as a human being in search of unification with the divine. So let's continue with the closing of the video and some background, maybe another story about Buddhism. So, as part of wrapping up our video, the first part about Siddhartha Gautama, I've already explained to you the reason why you won't see any interviews about that topic. To close our video, we're going to give a brief explanation of what Buddhism is as a concept and where it is most practiced. Buddhism is mainly practiced in the East, okay? The people who live there practice it regularly, but Buddhism and its branches are also widely practiced in parts of the West, especially nowadays. And as time goes by, it keeps growing in the West because many people are already tired of the same religious rituals, the same beliefs, and the same religious concerns of the West. So it mixes a bit with Eastern culture. Alright? Just like many branches of Buddhism. And above all, many people are already trying not to eat animals, not eat live animals, but to follow a more vegan, more vegetarian diet, to eat plants, vegetables, and those things. Alright? Let's remember that, as Moses said, it's a law of heaven, which is practiced in Judaism, in Kabbalah, that you shouldn't eat animals that are alive. Animals. Carnivorous. So guys, just like many people in the West are already seeking out these meditation practices to relax the mind, to achieve spiritual enlightenment, to seek nirvana, people are already starting to look for this wisdom and these practices for training and relaxing the mind. Something that has a lot to do with everything around us. What we're talking about is that in upcoming videos, we'll talk about training the mind, and consequently the most powerful technique there is for the mind, which is known as yoga, and the many forms of meditation that exist. So, as part of this, guys, to wrap up our video, in which it's still uncertain whether you'll see a second explanatory part about the phenomenon of Buddhism around the world. a major religion with hundreds of millions of followers. So I just wanted to give you some advice so that you start building your house, your dwelling, from the foundation, from the basics. You start looking for other things that make you happier than what you already have. To seek meditation, to seek an entity, like in my case, I worship a god. To seek something that really makes you truly feel alive. That's my advice, guys, as of today. So I would recommend that you take an interest in some religion, some doctrine, or some belief, that you start to develop your faith. And what if you don't share the same faith as me with the message of Jesus? In Christianity, you can turn to Buddhism, for example, or to any other religion to begin with. Because in the Buddhist religion, they don't consider faith towards a supreme entity, towards God. They don't worship any God and they don't venerate any God. It is true that they have their leader, Siddhartha Gautama, and many people follow his legacy, his message, and he is the guide of this religion. So what I was telling you is that you can also join this religion. You can look into their practices, because as I mentioned, the fact that they don't worship any God puts all the focus on the individual, on the practitioner. And that's what allows a person to reach their full potential. It's a big advantage of this religion. It also has many things related to compassion that I share, like respect for life, respect for animals, and so on. And in future videos, we might shed more light on this great religion, which is one of the 4 largest in the world. So that's it, guys. What else can I say? That's all for now. It's been a pleasure making this informative video. We're already a bit tired from so many interviews and everything else. So now, as part of changing up the content on this channel, you'll be seeing more informative videos, more explanatory and clarifying videos from me. I'm going to try to learn as much as I can to give you all the knowledge and wisdom you need for your spiritual peace, your spiritual liberation, and your growth as spirits and as souls. So that's it, guys. Nothing more to say. I'll see you in the next one. I'll try to make it in about a week. So that's all for now. If you like this content, you can leave me a like. You can subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want, you can share it with a friend. That would be something really valuable, honestly. So, without anything else to say, guys, I'll see you next week. That's all for now, and goodbye. Bye.